Gaming here with
Brian Kalina.
what did you
I topped the Altoona Regional in Iowa with Draco Striker.
neat?
It's pretty good.
What was some of your matchups like?
So I played Orchist, I played Thunder. My only loss was to pure Draco. I drew against Thunder. I played Mermails, of all things. Yeah, it was a wide mix. No Salamangreat, which is wild. But yeah, not more than one of any given meta deck. So get right into it.
All right, let's get right into it.
2A. I special this off of the field spell more than I normal summon it in the Draco build, so you don't really want to see it in your opening hand. So just 2, and then 2 Ash, Blue Boy, and then one of each of the Draco monsters, Ignis and Dino. This is a 2 for a while, but it sucks, so I put it to 1. And since this is your normal summon, that's another reason why you don't play 3 of this, because then you summon this off the field spell, or you just get the Hornet Drones off the engage. And I wanted to play like 5 hand traps, so I did 3 Imperm. Just put those there. 3 Imperm, 2 Ash, because Imperm you can use more than once per turn, and Ash you can't. That was essentially it. And I didn't play Phantasma, so I didn't have to worry about conflicts there. Then spells, 3 engage. If you resolve a lot of engages, it's really good, and you usually win.
Is that a quote from somewhere?
3 airspace, and then 2 shark cannon. I like this card at 3 a lot, but when you're fitting all the Draco cards in, it's tough. And I think it's necessary more than 1, so 2 works really well. And then the 1-ofs, multi-roll, Widow Anchor. I play Jamming Waves, and then Eagle Booster, Hornet, and Hercules base. I think these 2 are probably the most unusual ones out of like the Draco builds. I don't play Pot of Desires, so I needed like spots to make my field spell as effective as possible. So even though I have Draco back removal, I'm actually playing a little bit less than the standard, for as much as this deck can be standard. So I wanted more searchable cards off engage, because you're drawing one off engage so often, you want to be able to resolve it as much as possible. So if you're not playing some of these extra cards, you run out of search targets really quickly, and then you just engages aren't good. So if you play more search targets, your field spell's better, you can resolve more engages, which gives you more pluses. And I thought that was really good. I thought the ratios were really good for me today. So those are the Sky spells, and then for the Draco spells, 3 Diagram. And then I only did 2 Heritage and 2 Disciple. This might need to be at 3, because one of these plus the Sky Field or Set Rotation is insane, especially Set Rotation. Set Rotation is busted. But I didn't want to draw too many awkward hands. Like, this deck struggles when you draw too many conflicting pieces of the Draco and the Sky stuff. So I just didn't want to overdraw the Draco cards, so I wanted to minimize them as much as possible. And if I'm not banishing them off Desires, I don't feel the need to play 3 of either of them. So I just did 2 and 2, and it worked today, at least. And then with the Blue Boy, the Spellbook Engine, I did 3 Secrets, 1 Knowledge. I bumped this from 2 to 3 because the extra draw is very helpful, and if you draw multiple of them, you can either diagram it or send it off multi-roll or something. It's not the big deal, and it's a free spell in the grave. But you want to see this as much as possible, because the deck, because it has 2 conflicting pieces, you need as many cards in hand as possible. So if you don't see your generic draw engine, it's harder to get going into the pluses off the engage and the Draco spells. So. Then the just kind of generic Set Rotation, Terraforming, and then Upstart. We played 40. This card is busted. Any of the Draco spells plus this is a +5, I think, when I did the math. It's insane. And then 2 Apocalypse. I didn't play Return because on its own it doesn't really do anything, and if I'm only playing 2 of the Draco monsters, I don't really need more traps to tribute on their turn. So I just played 2 Apocalypse for its effect to have the attack. And this with the Draco spell is like a monster pop. You pop it, pop the spell, pops that, pops the monster. So I felt like this had more utility than a trap, so I felt like I could cut Return. So that's the main deck, 40 cards.
Okay.
Extra deck, I think it's pretty standard. 1 Kagari, 3 Shizuku, 3 Hayate, and 1 Kaina. I think there's some Draco Sky builds that like cut down on these, either like 1 less Hayate or 1 Shizuku. But I don't know, I feel like in this, with these ratios, the Draco cards are more to fuel the graveyard and draw power to get to the Sky Striker stuff than they are anything else. So I still wanted the full Sky Striker extra deck, minus the second Kalina, which I didn't think was very necessary. And I made 3 of both of these in games across the board, so I needed all of them. Then Phoenix, Hida, Barricade board for the Link 2. I'm really excited for the new Sky Striker Link 2. It's gonna be insane. This card sucks. Like, it doesn't because it's a generic Link 2 that points down, and it can protect your multi-roll and your Draco spells and your diagrams and stuff like that. But I don't know, I never used it for its actual discard effect. I just used it when I needed a Link 2 to summon to clear my zone for my Sky Striker spells. So I made it a lot, but I never like actually used its effect, and it didn't really matter. This card says if you summon this, you can Boral Sword OTK them, and it's fantastic. Especially with the Draco monsters, that extra body makes it so easy to Boral Sword kill people. And then I played Bomber. I didn't summon this once. If I was cutting a card from this extra deck, it'd be this to try and find something else. Ningirsu, especially with Hida, Ningirsu is really strong against Salaman. Great that I didn't play today. And then I played 1 super poly target in the main. So it was Violet Chimera, and then I played 1 super poly target in the side. It was Starving Venom. The reason I did this in the main and this in the side is because I was expecting a large field of Salamangreat. So if they're siding and they don't see me side into my extra deck, they are potentially not playing around super poly as much as they should. Because Shizuku, this is game because it like lowers the attack, and then you just use super poly this, attack over them, it does the double damage or whatever. So like if they're not playing around this because they didn't see me side into my extra deck, great, I win. I did not play any Salamander today, which was unfortunate. Side deck is 3 Lancia, 3 Super Poly, only 2 Twin because the 3rd Twin became the 2nd Super Poly target, and then 3 there can and 3 different Dimension Ground. This card's insane. I played Orcus the last round and I resolved like 4 of them in games 2 and 3. The reason I like Draco Sky so much is because the draw power is so good that in the sided games you're almost always seeing your side. So like against Orcus, I sided in those 6 cards and I saw in one game I saw this. I saw all 3 Lancia and a different Dimension Ground. And then in the second game I saw all 3 Lancia and a Super Poly. It's just like, you see so much of your side because of the draw power. As long as you're not seeing it early and you're still doing it in your engine and you don't overside more than like 6 cards at a time, the draw power just gets you to your side impact cards. And like, you hardly ever lose a sided game. I don't think I dropped a single-sided game today except because of Imperial Order in time. So this deck is really strong draw power and it's really good. I think this is pretty standard as far as what matchups go. So yeah, that's the deal. It's the only thing I like try to change is figure out more consistency, because sometimes you just like set 2 Draco cards and pass, which sucks. But even then, sometimes if they can't push through like 1 monster pop on the Draco traps, like there's so many cards you can top deck to like play out of stuff. So even if you open suboptimal, if you're not getting like OTK'd, you're drawing in Hornet Jones, Engage, Ray, any of the draw spells. So that's really strong. Shout out to Midwest Gaming, Joe, who helped me work on the list, and then told me to play Desires. Desires sucks, don't play it in this deck. Shout outs to who are our sponsors? Metamats and Rising Star and TGG and Ethan's, whatever Ethan is, Ethan Shorten. I don't remember what his YouTube or Instagram. Matex Collectibles, yeah. And then shout out to my cat Izzy. She's perfect in every way, shape, and form.
Congrats on your top 8. Thank you for the profile.
Thanks.